Jesus, we're live. Fuck me hands. Fuck, it's cold this morning. Alright, boys and germs, welcome to the Daily Crack today. And today, we're going to tackle the deep, complex hole. Jesus, that could be the start of many different type of videos. The deep, complex hole of what anxiety is and how fucking debilitating it can be for a lot of people, and ways to, as the title says, make anxiety your bitch instead of it making a bitch out of you. Okay? Now, first of all, let me state this loud and as proud as I can. Boys suffering with anxiety and depression, it's okay to talk about it. Suppressing it, masking it, pushing it deeper into you where you're hoping it won't come out or where you don't have to deal with it is not the solution. You need to be open about these things, open about your thoughts, be willing to voice them, and know that you're not the only one. You're probably hanging out with a group of friends that 70 to 80% of them have some sort of anxietal issues, depressive issues that maybe you don't know about, and maybe they're not talking about. So there's going to be two ways of listening to this video today. Maybe you're dealing with anxiety and depression, or maybe you know someone that is. So what I want you to do is assume that anyone that you talk to is dealing with it and how you can help them. And also by you talking about it openly can help you deal with what you're going through and also help other people feel brave enough and confident enough to speak up themselves. Because that's probably the most important thing when it comes to dealing with this shit. And now I'm trying to talk directly to males here in this video today, but that's not saying females don't deal with this shit as well. But sometimes I feel that females are very good at talking about this stuff, maybe better than males. Not saying that they are fantastic at it, they need help as well, but I think it's just automatically a female thing that, you know, they sense each other's woes, they sense each other's scenarios, and they will pry and poke and prod until they will dig out what's going on with a person. Whereas what happens with lads? Shut the fuck up. You'll be grand, will you? Come on, let's go. We'll fucking go to the pub and we'll have a few drinks and we'll forget about it. Or else fucking, like, dry your eyes, mate. Like, you know, you'll plenty more fish in the sea. Don't fucking worry about it. Come on to fuck. Don't be like that. Man up. Fucking boys don't cry. Fucking be a provider. Stiff upper lip. Soldier on regardless. So there's lots of scenarios where anxiety can come from. And it's complicated because they can come from so many places. You know, you want to take this back to your childhood, when you were a kid. And you know, my own story, like, you know, like, I got afraid of a neighbour, Tommy Higgins, at the time, and I got afraid of him. He was an old man, he lived on his own down the road, and I remember someone told me a story that, you know, he keeps kids, like bold children, he keeps them inside the house, and he makes them fucking work and dance and all this sort of mad, like fucking, when you think about it, like, probably mad fucking story to hear. But listen, this was something that was made up by someone to me as a child. But from then on, I was shit scared of this person because I created this story in my head that was way worse than it actually was. I remember like being afraid to hop on my bike and cycle that way down the road for fear I'd bump into him. And I would be on the tractor with my Owlad on the Massey 20. I'd have a dead man's grip of the fucking safety bar, because I didn't want, like if it was Tommy Higgins was out, I didn't want to stop. I didn't want the Owlad to stop for fear I'd get abducted and taken into this out. Now, that stirred something in me when I was a young fella that scared the fuck out of me. But, you know, if I was to react in a very scared way, my Owlad would have been like, what the fuck is wrong here? Like, what's going on? And I'm sure, like, you have seen it in your own kids, where your own kids act afraid and nervous and act out of act differently than their personality. And you're like, wondering what the fuck is going on. Maybe that's a case of some sort of anxiety that's creeping up. Now, translate that to an adult, and they start acting differently to their own personality. Another story from mine is in a previous relationship, how I felt. It was an odd relationship. It didn't work. It took me a long time to see that, but I'd always get this feeling across here of, you know, just not being content, like very physical gut feeling, you know, not able to eat. And it was probably some insecurities of my own, maybe some with the person I was with, but I felt like I needed to drink hard in order to make this feeling go away. But what was I doing? I was trying to mask symptoms, trying to mask what my body was telling me. Maybe it was anxiety, maybe it was my body telling me I shouldn't be in this, but whatever. It's something that needed to be addressed. Declan, what's the crack? Needed to be addressed, but I was choosing fully to ignore it. And what happened then was, like, you know, the scenario between me and that girl just became super toxic, because I wasn't dealing with what I was feeling. I was trying to ignore it, and I lost weight because I wasn't eating properly, and I was trying to talk about it, but I didn't know how to talk about it. But really what needed to happen in that scenario is we weren't good for one another, and we needed to part ways, was the long and short of it. But this is the thing that I want, particularly lads, to understand, that you can help one another. You can help one another by talking about it. And sometimes it takes someone, you know, taking that first step and be like, you know what, lads, I'm not feeling right. And what do you mean? Like, I'm not feeling fucking right in the head. I got all these fucking feelings. There's this going on, there's that going on, and I'm just not fucking top of the pops at the moment. Now, good friends will listen, and they will help, and they will talk to you about what's going on. If you have a friend that doesn't want to listen to you, well, get new friends, because a cunt like that in your life is no good. They're no good. You want a friend that, you know, in a scenario like that, where if you spoke and they listened, that's good. But if they spoke and you hear what they're saying and you listen, that's the sort of friend you want in return. That's the most important thing. And voicing your opinions to them and voicing your concerns about what's going on for you, it gives that person permission as well to be able to be vocal about their lives. And I think this is where we can really do a lot for mental health across the world with males, is, you know, not being ashamed to talk about what's going on for you. Because it is that thing. It's once one starts talking, they all start talking. And I'm no different to anyone else that might be listening to this right now. Like you look at my social media and you see, like, I'm out at the weekend, like, stripping, and I'm putting up all these videos of me training and working hard and all this sort of shit. Like, I have dealt with my anxiety in the past. I understand that it's a very real thing. I don't shy away from it. I have been to counsellors. I have talked to counsellors. And it's been some of the best things. I have great people, I have great friends around me that listen to my shit. And I'm going to name a few, a great one. Alex Chungy, fucking Zach O'Connor, and Dara Loftus. Like, these are all fucking good mates. Lee Austin, one of the legends. These are all fucking great men in my life that if I know at a drop of a hat, I could pick up the phone and talk to them about whatever the fuck's going on in my life, and they're not going to judge. They're going to help me out. They're going to talk me through it. And likewise, their favour is returned at the drop of a hat. We have our UFC Sundays that we catch up on. When we could catch up, we're in lockdown now, so it won't be happening for a while. But that's it. That's one of our meeting points. It's a boys-only event. And we just catch up, and that's what the point of it is. Yeah, we're going to watch some UFC, but it's about the lads catching up with one another and just bringing their shit and talking about it. And this is what it needs to be. If you're a lad out there and you've dealt with some of this stuff, you know how hard it can be. There's pressures. There's pressures to be a provider. There's pressure to be a good partner. There's pressure to make money. There's pressure to put a roof over your family's head. There's all this stuff that we don't talk about because it's assumed that it's just dealt with. It's assumed that you're strong enough to, hold on to it. And you have to be strong and to, show that you have anxiety and depression or you're going through a tough time is a sign of weakness. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not. It's fucking not. It's far from. Actually, it's stronger if you're able to fucking talk about it. And you're able to fucking have a little bit of a cry if you need to have a fucking cry. There's no shame in fucking that stuff at all. It's important that it's dealt with, and it's important that it's spoke about. Don't bury that shit down. Using the masks. Irish lads, and like in particular, like, I know what it's like. You go out and you have social anxiety, and your way around that is to hit the fucking drink. And the more you drink, the funnier you become. And the more comfortable you become. But what is that? That's a fucking mask. That you will put, you're suppressing the feelings that you're feeling. And you're creating stories inside your head of what's going on and what is the possible scenario. If I don't drink, I'm not going to be funny enough and people won't like me. That's fucking shite, so it is. Call a spade a fucking spade. You see someone else doing that, you'd call them a fucking alcoholic, right? Or else, we don't deal with this stuff further, and we have these feelings inside. You go to the doctor about it, they give you fucking antidepressants, and anxiety medication. But again, it's not dealing with the actual problem. Drinking is a mask, medications is a mask, using social media to validate yourself, that's another mask. There's many ways to fucking push this shit down, bury it in the ground and not deal with it. But it'll follow you forever. It's going to be there. And let me tell you this one thing about anxiety. Once you feel it, and in today's world, being an adult, it's everywhere around you. You don't have to walk far to feel it in some way, shape or form. The way to make it your bitch is to accept it and understand the scenario that you're in. Maybe you're going to need to change some things in your life. Maybe you're going to have to tidy up a few bobs and bits. Maybe you're going to have to face the ugly truth. But once you accept it into your life and know it's there, then you can start to manage it and deal with it. And I think that's going to be the biggest the solution to the problem. Not more drink, not more drugs, not more social media, but accepting it that it's there and learn to manage it. Like you learn to be an engineer in college, like you learn to be a carpenter as an apprenticeship, like you learn to be a fucking fitness coach online. You learn to deal and manage these things. How you learn to be a father, a mother, a fur baby owner. All these things take time. You can't just get rid of them, you can't just squash them, but you gotta fucking face them. And understand that facing them is gonna be the best way to deal with it in the long run. I've gone on a rant today now, a full-on solid rant, but I feel it needs to be heard. And as I said, this is mostly directed at lads, but girls, the same shit applies to you as well. I'm finishing up. The last couple. Do you have anxiety? Do you have depression? Do you feel it? Physically, mentally? Do you understand where it comes from? What has happened? Like, is childhood, parents, partners, trauma? Where does it stem from? Do you suppress it? Do you try and bottle it? Do you try and put on a face to the world that isn't fucking really you, and you're dealing with something at the time, or you're dealing with it constantly, but you're choosing not to let the world see it? Drinking, drugs, social media, all that sort of stuff, that's ways of suppressing it. If you recognize certain things about it, is there something you can do? Do you talk to people about your stuff? Maybe that's a counselor, maybe that's friends. If your friends in your life aren't willing to listen to your shit, get new fucking friends. And if you recognize this about yourself, don't be ashamed of it, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. The world is a fucking crazy place at the moment. And understand this, you're not the only one going through shit. I can be guaranteed the group of friends you have, if there's not fucking 70 to 80% of them that's going through some fucking horrendous shit at the moment, man, it's amazing the group of friends you have. But be vocal. Talk about it. A problem shared is a problem halved. And it helps. And it also, by you sharing your shit, gives permission to someone else to share theirs too. And the words are getting to now, to share their problems too. We can all help each other out in this, but it starts with talking. Don't be ashamed. That's it for today, boys and germs. Quite the fucking rant.